What's up guys, Matt Fragger, back again with another video. Hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to give you my quick first impressions of Rasasi Hawas Kobra. Picked this up recently from the TikTok shop. It is of course very similar to Louis Vuitton Imagination. Went through a decant of Imagination just to familiarize myself with the fragrance. And I know that there's a few different interpretations of Imagination that are out there right now. This is the one that I chose to delve into, partly because the House of Rasasi is one that I really can depend on. That I feel like I really can count on Rasasi to put out some really good fragrances, and then also the Hawas line in particular. I think they do a great job with this line. So getting into this fragrance, here's the box. The bottle, beautiful bottle, definitely a fingerprint magnet, but a beautiful bottle, and great atomizer too, as you're gonna find with a lot of these well, with all of these Hawas fragrances. But basically, this fragrance here, if you're talking about, if you're somebody who is interested in getting as absolutely close to the DNA of Louis Vuitton Imagination as you can, then I would say that maybe there could be other interpretations of it that might suit you better. Okay. Um, because I feel like this particular interpretation of the fragrance, although as soon as you spray this on, you're going to immediately recognize it as the Louis Vuitton's Imagination DNA. It's immediately apparent what they're going for here, but I will say that as far as similarity, and I really do hate to put numbers on it, percentages and the like, but I will say that this is probably, in my estimation, probably about a 60% similar. If we're talking in a general sense along through the life of the fragrance, I would say it's about maybe 65% similar. But what I would also like to say is that even though this isn't going to interpret exactly to what you're going to get out of the Imagination DNA, I am not even going to go any further as far as finding another interpretation of Imagination for my collection, because I just really love this fragrance and I love what it's doing on its own, by itself, standing alone. If you throw out how close is it to Imagination, if you forget about how close is it and you're not splitting hairs and picking at it and trying to say, well, the ginger's a little bit more snappy here, or it's a little less soapy than Imagination. If you kind of stop picking at little things like that, it does smell like Imagination. It is going to give you that vibe, but it's also going to give you something that you get from a lot of the other Hawas fragrances in this line, and that's going to be just a very good quality fragrance with really good performance. And, just overall, it just does what I need it to do for a fragrance that's of this style, right? And regardless of how close it is, I think that this is a fantastic pickup. I think for what you're going to pay for this, I think that it is a really great pickup to add to your collection. And if you're a fan of the Louis Vuitton's Imagination DNA, then I think this is a fragrance that you're really going to enjoy. I will say a couple little things. First of which being, it's not as soapy as I expected it to be. Doesn't quite have the soapiness of what you're going to get in Imagination. I was actually kind of led, from the feedback that I'd kind of seen on this. I was kind of expecting it to be a little more on the soapy side. As a matter of fact, I was feeling like maybe this might be a little more soapy than the original Imagination. That's not the case. It does have a great neroli in here. It opens with that very snappy ginger and citrus, and then goes into that kind of slightly soapy neroli. But I think that Imagination is a little soapier even than this fragrance is going to be. However, the biggest difference that you're going to notice between these two when you're talking the Louis Vuitton and the Cobra, the biggest difference is just going to be the way that the vibe that the fragrance has, the way that the fragrance comes across. This one, in typical Hawas fashion, is going to be very punchy. It's going to be very strong. It's going to be very, bold and forward. It's not quite as sophisticated, I don't think, as the original Imagination. I don't think that it has as much of a kind of like gentlemanly opulence to it. Um, but I think that that's in a way that's a good thing, because that allows this fragrance to, yes, it gives you that imagination kind of feel, but it allows it to kind of give you a little bit more of a versatile overall DNA, right? Like, this kind of takes that very kind of classy, kind of sophisticated feel that you get out of imagination, and it makes it something that's very versatile that you can wear anytime. Dress up, dress down, any type of situation, any type of weather. Very, very versatile fragrance here. And if you're a fan of clean, fresh, soapy, kind of just a general kind of clean fragrance profile, I think that this is something that you're really going to get on board with, that you're really going to like. And in the dry down, this fragrance does start to kind of get a little bit closer to imagination in the dry down. Like, the dry down of both of these fragrances is going to be much more similar than the opening is. So I feel like if you are looking for a dupe of imagination and you want something that's definitely going to give you that strength and that performance that you're looking for from a line like this, from the Hawas line, this one is going to do that for you. If you're looking for something that's going to get you in that area and get you in that ballpark and give you that vibe of imagination, of that DNA, this one is going to do that for you. And for what you're going to pick this up for, the price you're going to pick this up at, I feel like it's a great addition to any collection. I think that anybody who likes imagination is really going to like what this fragrance is doing. And I do recommend picking this one up and giving it a shot, because since I've got this, I've really been, impressed with it. And I'm really glad that I went this direction and that I decided to add this one to my collection. And I would highly recommend that you guys do the same, because whether you only have one inspiration of imagination or you've got maybe a few, this is one that's great to have. And I'm probably not going to go forward with trying any. I mean, I know that there's a few different other interpretations of this fragrance out there for sure. This one is going to do it for me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna hit. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stick. I think that this one is one that is going to do it for me as far as this DNA in my collection. So, Rasasi Hawas Kobra, definitely worth picking up, definitely worth having in your collection. And I highly recommend this one, because even though I haven't had it very long, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it. On my first impressions, I think that this thing is amazing, and I think it's one that a lot of you are really going to enjoy. And especially, like I said, if this is a DNA that you're vibing with, then this is going to be one that you're really going to enjoy having in your collection. So thank you for joining me for another video, guys. I'm the Mad Fragger. I will see you next time.